everyone, and welcome to the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. It is a joy for me to be with you this morning, sitting in this beautiful garden, in God's bosom, and it's just awesome. I wish you were here with me. Such greenery, beautiful bougainvillea flowers and palms and pine trees. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And in the consciousness of all this beauty, I invite you to join me in our opening affirmative prayer. Let us just recognize together the presence of beauty, the presence of God. That presence I'm knowing is expressing in every aspect of creation, in each flower, in each bird, in each sound. It is that which expresses in our hearts this beautiful Sunday morning. It is that which we know as this Sunday morning service. And it is that which is a consciousness that invites us to participate in this awesome experience. I know that in consciousness there is no time nor space. So we are together in one heart, in one mind, joining together to celebrate this service, this experience of truth, this expression of principle. And so I give thanks for the gathering. I give thanks for each and every one of you. I give thanks for the consciousness that joins us together in chords of everlasting harmony, and the knowing that God truly is present in this space. With joy and thanksgiving, I release these words knowing that they're fully and perfectly and awesomely manifest right here, right now, as our experience. I give thanks that all this is so. Our inspirational reading this morning comes from a delightful book, Joyous Living Journal, by Petra Weldes and Christian Sorensen. And it's from a reading entitled Dream Big. There's an epigraph by Karen Ryan that says, "Only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. Only as much as I dream, I can do." Now, when President Kennedy declared that the US would land a man on the moon in the next decade, he had no idea how that was going to happen. What he knew is that unless we are willing to dream big, we will never become the greatness that we are meant to be. Along the way to achieving that dream, many amazing things were created and invented, and our lives have been completely altered because of that dream. You have big dreams too. These dreams are spirits in culture to live and love and grow and give as you, through you, and having a rich and full life that contributes in a meaningful and powerful way to all life. So go ahead, dream big. You cannot outdream God. Live fully. It's never too much for spirit. Explore new things. It's how life is evolving. Love extravagantly. It's really the only game worth playing. Every time you embrace something more, greater, deeper, richer, or higher in your life, you're expanding how much of life you can express and experience. Just something to reflect on. What is your big dream? Where are you living life to the fullest and loving the most extravagantly? And where are you holding back? Food for thought. And now, as we ponder these words, let us have our praise.
How do you measure I distant journeys to plan. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure the life of a woman or a man? In truth that she learned, or in times that he cried, in bridges she burned, or the way that she smiled. The story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember a year in the life of friends. Remember that measure your life in love. Seasons of measure your life, measure your life in love.
Thank you so much, Hanif, Lisa, and Christina for that absolutely wonderful rendition. And now we have a few short announcements. We welcome everyone who is joining us here from whatever part of the world you are tuning in from. It is such a pleasure to have you. I know that this time has required that we go inside and lock ourselves away, but we know that in our understanding of God, it's an opportunity for us to go inside that secret place of the Most High, where we know that no outer condition can make a difference. We know that all is well because all is God. Now, the Temple of Light office hours continue to be between 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. So if you need to speak to any one of us here, you might call us at our numbers here at 927-6145, or you can visit to make an appointment to meet with a minister or a practitioner. You may also transfer funds to our savings account number 20941 at the Bank of Nova Scotia, Knutsford Boulevard, New Kingston branch. And we also have a PayPal account, links to which will be posted in the comments below. Now, starting today, immediately following this love stream, we invite you to join our pastor, Reverend John Scott, for our discovery. Now, it's going to be Discovery Live right here on Facebook, and it's an opportunity for us to have a conversation about the principles of the science of man, where for you to ask me questions and for us to really talk about how we can apply those principles to our real life circumstances and our needs. And now more than ever, we're going to need to respond to these circumstances with prayer. And also, when we consider the challenges that we are being faced with, we know that prayer is the way to go. So we invite you to call at 927-6145, and we can meet with you and we can do an affirmative prayer for you. We also have our prayer line at 876-978-1167. And there's a special prayer of peace and well-being that you can tune into. So if you want to speak to one of our ministers, they'll be available on a special prayer line that we have put in place. And they're available from 8 a.m. until 12 midnight, Monday to Friday. The number is 876-289-0907. Let me give you that number again. 876-289-0907. You can also phone in your prayer requests at 876-927-6145 or 876-946-2230. Or you may email us at templeoflight@cwjamaica.com. And be sure to join us here next Sunday for our Love Stream, another Love Stream service. And our speaker will be Reverend John Scott. So we look forward to seeing you here next week Sunday. Above all, let us remember that love knows absolutely nothing about social distancing. Although we're not able to hug or to hold hands at this time, our hearts are still linked to our brothers and sisters all over the world. This concludes our announcements, and this morning it is my pleasure to invite Hanif, who will share his beautiful voice with us. Thank you so much.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
So much, Hanif. It truly is a wonderful world. It is always my pleasure to listen to you sing. You can sing for me any day, anytime. Thank you so much. And it is now my pleasure to introduce our speaker this morning. She is our friend. She is a licensed religious science practitioner. She's a master goldsmith. And you name it, Carol does. Oh, I forgot the pastries. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, Temple of Light family, and everyone else, join me in welcoming this morning to deliver the message of our
Good morning and welcome, all my friends from all over the world who are listening to us now on the World Wide Web. You are watching me in beautiful Kingston, Jamaica. Guess what? Yesterday was my birthday. Yay! And it seems that, whether by design or happenstance, around this time every year, I'm scheduled to speak. Now, this is a significant birthday, but I'm not going to tell you which one. After all, age is just a number, right? Ernest Holmes, writing in the Science of Mind text, said, people don't stop living because they grow old. They grow old because they stop living. With that in mind, I've titled my presentation this morning, You Make Me Feel So Young, after the popular song from a few decades ago by Rosemary Clooney. Now, how youthful you are has very little to do with how young you are chronologically. Growing is as much defined by what you are not as it is by defining what you are. Acceptance of yourself, warts and all, and being willing to release our perceived weaknesses will free us to grow into our strongest selves, fearlessly and graciously. Change is inevitable, so fighting against it is really quite futile. Growth is a natural and inevitable process of change. And that growth will involve aging. But does aging have to mean a descent into morbidity, unattractiveness, and a loss of passion? Absolutely not. The only constant in life is change. And we see this in nature all the time. Flowers fade, the fruits of summer fade. They have their seasons, and so do we. But a change does not necessarily signify an end. More often, there is a pause before we reawaken to our new experience. We reawaken from our self-imposed hibernation, so to speak. We awaken to our next greater yet to be adventure on this journey through life. Wayne Dyer, writing in his book, The Sky is the Limit, has this to say, and I quote, "Once you recognize change as the inevitable condition of being human, you will be more inclined to welcome it in the significant parts of your own personal life. If you can get yourself used to the idea that change is wonderful rather than something to shun, you will be on your way to new, exciting, risk-taking behaviors which will give purpose to your life before you even recognize it." End quote. Now my question, how willing are you to take a risk? Whatever age you may be. Now taking a risk does not have to involve cliff diving or bungee jumping, although that's okay too. It can be as simple as changing your hairstyle, taking a new route in your daily activities, trying a new dish or a new dance. Being youthful is usually demonstrated through curiosity, exuberance, joy, playfulness, openness, and vulnerability, trust, persistence, expectation, a sense of adventure. Life is never stagnant. It is about action, movement, enthusiasm, discovery. It is fear that stops us from diving into life with an eagerness to taste everything on that menu. The desire for change is often preceded by a very uncomfortable feeling. A feeling that tells us a new way of being is trying to emerge. Now, if we're paying attention, we may be very aware of physical pain or a strong feeling of disorientation or confusion. As with any process of growth, taking the next step is a great leap of faith. And it can be very scary. We're being called to explore new territory, to embark on a hitherto unknown journey towards a brand new, yet to be revealed destination. And for some, as we age, the fear looks like the fear of the autumn of life, or perhaps the winter of life, the fear of old age, or even fear of death. When last did you look in the mirror? Did you like what you saw? If you're over 60, I'm willing to bet you saw a couple things that you would prefer not to see just yet. But there is a way to let go of the familiar and allow a graceful transition, an ending to a current experience, so that you can passionately embrace a new possibility. If you only keep repeating what you know, you limit the possibility of learning something new, of discovering the what next of the growth process. Ernest Holmes tells us, unless we keep doing new things, we will not have the interest to do new things. Now there is a creative aspect to change. Stagnation is not creative. Progress is eternal. Unfoldment is everlasting. Every new horizon provides a fresh starting point for another horizon, ad infinitum. One step builds on another step and another step. There is no point of arrival. We're not supposed to get there. Every time we learn something new, It awakens within us a thirst to learn something new. The goal is sure to be attained by all, because we all have the ability to live fully through life's changes, to set our sights on newness and creative self-expression. The poet T.S. Eliot puts it this way: only those who go too far will ever know how far it's possible to go. I use that class at the beginning, that quotation at the beginning of my design class every semester. Only those who go too far will ever know how far it's possible to go. Ralph Waldo Emerson, writing in his essay Circles, had this to say, and I quote, "People wish to be settled, but only so far as they are unsettled is there any hope for them." End quote. Now, I've identified 5 keys that open the doorway to an abundant, youthful life, forever young. Number 1, do what intrigues you. Explore what interests you. Think mystery rather than mastery. Dare to dream. Become as little children, totally engaged in the imaginative landscapes and characters that bring excitement and possibilities. Number 2, don't forget to play. Yes, a little fun can go a long way towards making life more livable and more lovable. Play. Play is at the heart of all good creative work. Carl Jung, the noted psychologist, said, and I quote, "The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity." End quote. Now, for some of us, the older we get, the more we forget to play, as if maturity is synonymous with being some staid old fuddy-duddy. No. Remember Jesus' promise, "I have come that they might have life and have it more abundantly." The more we realize that God is all and all good, and we acknowledge our oneness with it, we know there is nothing to force, pursue, or fear. We simply recognize the presence and allow its free expression, so we can be fearless, not reckless, but fearless. Which brings me to our 3rd key. Every desire you have is an idea seeking expression through you. And it wouldn't be knocking on the door seeking to be let out if the time was not right for you to do it. It's not necessary to know what's on the other side of that door. Taking a risk involves letting go of fear. Every birth involves risk, whether we're talking about birthing a new experience, a new idea, or a baby. You think the chicken pecking at the eggshell knows what's outside the shell? You think the baby making its way out of the womb with steadfast determination knows what's outside once it leaves that nice, comfortable environment? Probably not. But there is a divine urge and urgency to express more. The doctors and scientists can elaborate on the psychology of it and the physiology of it. But what is it that triggers that desire? What is it that says, okay, time to move on, take the next step? And when that call is given, the chicken or the baby or whatever it is cannot be held back from this next phase of expression. We came into this world with that urge to grow, to be and do more. It's the same driving force that tells a blade of grass it can push through concrete. It's the same driving force that makes a gross caterpillar know when it's time to transform into a delicate airborne butterfly with gossamer wings. Number 4. This transformative energy, which we know as God, is always seeking to expand our expression of it. But it needs our cooperation. Willingness is our 4th key. If we try and stop the process, the life cycle is thwarted. And we can experience maybe guilt, shame, despair, or we could just die. Not necessarily physically, but emotionally and mentally. Life is not static. When something is reduced on one end, something is increased on the other end. If we're just marking time, we can miss out on many opportunities for growth and expansion. An important question we might ask ourselves is, what is my life wanting to express? What is it trying to tell me right now? We're in the growth process, whether we like it or not, whether we recognize it or not. So we might as well make a decision to work with the program and commit to following through on divine promptings. Remember, change is inevitable. However, self-awareness is a necessary ingredient in the process of change, which leads me to authenticity, our fifth key. Being authentic means allowing the real you to be fully present and exposed, warts and all. And this takes courage. It is this courage that is going to allow you to take responsible control of your life and grow up. Yes, grow up and take stock of who you are being in this world. So is it possible to grow up and still keep that sense of wonder and curiosity, exuberance and playfulness, trust and expectation, that wonderful sense of adventure and openness? Of course it is. These are part and parcel of who we are. We can allow dust to settle over them, or we can bury them deep after some trauma. But they haven't gone anywhere. This is still you, the ageless, deathless, eternally youthful you. With maturity, these may be expressed differently, but not necessarily with any less enthusiasm. We must covenant with ourselves to live from a consciousness of knowing who we truly are and being confident enough in that knowing to choose to create our lives by deliberate design. Thomas Troward in his book, The Creative Process and the Individual says, and I quote, "The incessant and progressive creativeness is the very essence and being of spirit." In other words, we don't get to not create. He continues, "If then we keep this progressive creativeness of the spirit continually in mind, we may rely upon its working as surely in ourselves as in that great cosmic forward movement which we speak of as evolution." This suggests to me that we're dealing with a law. And with any other natural law, we don't have to force it to work. We simply comply with its nature and allow it to do what it does. We came to this earth to live full out, to live out the highest and truest vision of ourselves, to use fully our value as a human being. It is our responsibility to allow ourselves to grow and expand into our best selves, our authentic selves, with joy and passion and elegant grace, allowing ideas of unfoldment to flow freely, fearlessly, and effortlessly. And we don't need anybody's permission to do that. Let us affirm, I dive enthusiastically into life. I am the exuberant, ever-youthful playfulness of creation. The depth and breadth of our personal development is linked to an expanded, up-leveled vision of who we're knowing ourselves to be at any given moment in time. So embrace change. Welcome growth and evolution. Wonder comes from a new perception, a new perspective, not the same old story. If lately you've been feeling like your get up and go was got up and gone, let your new story be about nurturing your life in every way possible by opening yourself to new ways of thinking and feeling. The Sufi mystic Rumi tells us, sell bewilderment and buy wonder. I'd like to close with an affirmation from Ernest Holmes in his book, This Thing Called You. Every breath I draw is a breath of perfection, vitalizing and upbuilding and renewing every cell of my body. I am born of spirit. I am in the spirit. I am the spirit made manifest. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you, Carol, for that absolutely wonderful and delightful message, reminding us, of course, that age is just a number. And remember, as we pull from that Ernest Holmes quote that says, we don't stop living because we get old. We get old because we stop living. So we're going to embrace life and live fully, richly, powerfully, and passionately. And in this next breath, I'm going to light the candle for all the peoples of the world. I light this candle on behalf of all the peoples of the world. Let us behold the Christ in each and every one. And now it's my absolute pleasure to invite our guest this morning, Mrs. Dawn Fuller Phillips, who is going to gift us with her beautiful voice as a gift for Carol's special Earth Day. Dawn is going to sing a wonderful song on Eagle's Wings. Let's welcome Dawn.
You dwell in the shelter of the Lord.
much, Dawn. That was absolutely beautiful. An amazing song for an amazing birthday girl on Eagle's Wings. Thank you so much. We truly, truly appreciate your wonderful gift of voice this morning. And we begin our affirmative prayer, our closing treatment, as we started with God. We're truly grateful for the experience here this morning and the blessed assurance that the divine presence is our spiritual GPS. It's that which lights our way, it's that which guides our path. It is that which inspires us in everything that we do and in all that we are. We truly give thanks for the blessing of this morning, for the gift of song, for the powerful message that Carol shared with us, and for every aspect of our experience this morning. I know that as we leave with that sense of youthfulness and joy in our hearts, that sense to know that we are truly forever young, and that the infinite presence and power guides us, guides our steps, guides our speech, guides our actions, keeps us safe, and enables us to truly walk this path of truth, uplifted, enlightened, empowered, and blessed. And so I give thanks. And so as we go to our respective destinations and we go about our business, I know that the divine presence goes with us and manifests in every activity, in every moment. And so I truly give thanks for the collective consciousness that we bring together under God, expressing as God. And so I know that all is well. And in this space of love and joy and gratitude, I release my words and know that they are fully and perfectly and awesomely accomplished. I rejoice and give thanks that all of this is so now, and so it is. And now, wherever you are, I invite you to sing with us our peace song. Friends, it was such a joy to have you join us this morning. Your amazing support is greatly appreciated. And if you choose to support us, you can make a donation to the Bank of Nova Scotia, New Kingston Branch, Oxford Boulevard, Kingston 5. It's a savings account and the number is 20941. Remember that we also have our 24-hour prayer line that you can join Monday to Friday. You can call into one of our ministers, and the number is 876-289-0907. It really was a